Game 1, Corvallis Super Regional, Auburn Tigers, 7, Oregon State, 5. We're going to be talking about the game just as it ended, our reaction to Auburn taking Game 1 in the Super Regional. We're going to discuss it here on a very late night live stream. War Eagle to you if you're an Auburn fan, which I'm sure most of you are. But if we have any Oregon State fans that want to brave the live stream or the replay, or any other fans out there, welcome as well. Thank you for joining in to, like I said, an extremely late live stream here at E2C Network, where we cover the whole of the Auburn experience. Yes, always heavy on the sports, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. And we appreciate you being here. As you come into the live stream, we have a check-in period that we'll go ahead and start right. And we're going to move things really fast here to get things going tonight because I know it's late. Our check-in period right now in the comments section, whether you are live or on the replay, post where you're watching from, city, state, international, all of that stuff with a War Eagle or however you'd like to greet tonight, because there are several of you already doing that as well. So if you can do that for us, that would be great. We're going to be taking your comments, your questions, and we're going to be discussing some of the stats I have out here in front of me from the game as well. And I appreciate so many of you already tuning in live on a very late night live stream. We've got a lot of familiar faces here. Linda, underrated. Sharon, it's an interesting name there. I'm not sure that's exactly appropriate, so I'm not gonna bring that one up. We got Eve, underrated again. Let's see. Scott Blake, it's time for bed, he says. Well, I appreciate you popping in here at least just to say hello. Woo, honestly, that didn't take as long as I thought. I thought it would be up much later. I set the live stream for 2 o'clock because of excuse me, because of not knowing what was going to happen. After that first inning, I truly thought we were going to be doing this live stream at about 2:30. That was incredible. Just how many pitches, how many pitchers were used by both teams in just 3 innings is really what it was. I think it was 5 pitchers through 3 innings, and it was easily over 100 pitches already between the 5 of them, way over that number. This was not a night for pitchers. This was a night for hitting. And it looks like Oregon State is very much a team that we have to contend with when it comes to the bats. And tonight, though, the bullpen and the pitching was tested, but they passed the test tonight. So as we go throughout the stream, do make sure that you share your thoughts and your opinions about what happened tonight. Connor, good to see you. He was here on a previous live stream, a good Oregon State fan. Checking in, Auburn was the better team tonight. I have a very great deal of respect for Oregon State after watching their play tonight. I will say that the pitcher he needs to be careful for y'all. He's going to have a Tennessee moment. But thank you for hanging out with us a little bit tonight. Susan can exhale now. Sheila's here. Devin, so proud of the way they didn't get rattled after the first inning. This is why they are playing and not me. Devin, so, this setup you see behind me, I was pacing back and forth with little spaces behind me. I didn't sit down until I saw the last out come across the stream and then finally kind of hit go on everything because I was just beside myself tonight. Before we get any further, we'll try to stay up to date on those comments and questions as we can. I do want to give, notice to, obviously pitching tonight was a bit of an issue at times, but also was a bit of a bright spot at times as well as the game got on. Trace Bright did not have a great game. I would argue that it was, and I've not watched every single game with 100%, eyes on the screen this year, but probably one of his worst starts this year. He's not had like the most consistent year altogether. However, I don't want tonight to take away from how integral he was to the regional play and getting us off to a great start there as well. And at other times, especially in the latter part of the season here. So I know that's going to be a lot of there's not a lot of negative to take away tonight, right? Because we won. But I know that's going to be some of the things that are discussed. Trace did not have a great game. But his teammates were there for him and picked him up when it counted the most. So I just want to make sure we cover that before we got too far. War Eagle from Vancouver. Wow, good to see you. Well, hear from you in Vancouver. We're getting them all over the place tonight. Dustin or Dusty got our best arm going tomorrow. Bats are hot, 1 win away. Absolutely. So Auburn is now finds itself in the proverbial driver's seat. They have the 1 game advantage. They have not wasted their best arm in, based off of performances this year, but neither has Oregon State. So that's the big story that started off tonight, is that Oregon State had to change up their pitching rotation. And I forget the guy's name, but it was kind of a last-minute scratch because he had been dealing with an illness. They wanted to give him 1 more day of rest, and in hindsight was probably a very fortuitous decision by the Oregon State head coach to do so, because if he doesn't do that, they've already used up their ace tonight. If Auburn's bats were as hot as they were tonight, maybe got to him too. Who knows? So it could be the thing that saves them. But you will have best against best tomorrow in what could potentially be the final game, which is going to be a great matchup. And I'm going to have to get a nap tomorrow to get ready for all of this. Cheryl, good to see you. Linda, obviously, we've said hello to. Cooper. Bats are staying hot will be key. Absolutely. And they have definitely gotten hot since the SEC tournament. They've been hot all year, but regained their heat, their temperature after the SEC tournament, which was great timing. You definitely, there is this certain aspect. We talked about it a lot with basketball. I think sometimes too much emphasis is put on it, but there is something to getting hot at the right time and just kind of feeling and grooving as a team. Farrah, yes, I know it's 2 a.m. almost. I promised people on our live streams, on our Wednesday night live streams at 8 p.m. if you can join us, whoever's out there might want to join us. I asked the group, would people show up? And y'all have answered. So here we are doing a shortened version for that. Well, I mean, frankly, I'll stay on as long as y'all want to, but we do need to get to bed at some point tonight. Connor, thank you for giving us some perspective, our Oregon State fan who's been here. Verberg, the pitcher you speak of, is the leader and the only player on the team from the 18 championship. He plays with a lot of fire. I think he's directing his frustration. Oh, okay. That's the batter. I'm sorry. I think he was directing his the pitcher. He was directing his frustration with the ump at the batter. I got you. I think I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, just my biggest thing. I say this for all Auburn players too. Be careful. Don't become Tennessee, because wow, that's some classlessness that they have. Kevin, good to see you. Devin, as my husband told me tonight, sometimes you just have an off night. No disrespect to Trace. I hope Auburn fans don't talk negatively about him. Still an integral part of this team. Absolutely. And he is definitely an integral part of the rotation. Without him, you have one true rotation guy, with Mason Barnett especially stepping up, as he can be a rotation guy, and he is now because of the Hayden Mullins injury. But yeah, you are a much worse team without Trace, even after a bad start like tonight. But great on, let's see if I can remember everybody that came out. John Armstrong, Tommy Sheehan. I did a lame joke online. Tommy Deland, Deland Sheehan. It doesn't sound as good when you say it. Obviously, Carson Skipper had 1 or 2 scary moments. He let some balls get out there a little too far that made me kind of pass out for a minute. And then Berkey kind of had a few little scary pitches there as well, which made me think that we might be going in for the typical Auburn heartbreak. But I think as much as we credit the win to obviously the bats getting us back in it after the bad start by pitching, the pitching is what really shut them down for the rest of the game. Paul, good win. Thankful for Mr. Chela Luna to share his big hit. Is there any other better way for Auburn to start off their super regional or just the super regional to begin in general, than Sonny Shara knocking one out of the park? I mean, it couldn't have written itself any better than that. Great question. What did you think of the strike zone? I say this for both teams. What did Butch Thompson say? We're looking at a professional strike zone. I don't know if he meant that tongue in cheek, or he meant that I'm taking it was tongue in cheek. I thought it was not a generous strike zone, but I felt like for the most part, it was pretty fairly called on both sides, meaning that nobody got a real true advantage from it. Because that last, inning, I can see a couple pitches from Berkey that should have been strikes that were not. Glad we won tonight. Just woke up. What's the score? 7-5. Auburn Tigers win in Corvallis. Chandler, I'm too excited to go to bed. This is why I'm doing this thing right now, because I love you guys too. Connor, honest truth, we haven't used our best two relieving arms, Furr and Chevy, or our closer, Brown, and we have two more guys who've been great starters. I'm going to say that's Kamatz and Hunter, and not including Jerpy. I think that's how I said it correctly the night before. Listen, yeah, I know we're not through the heart of Oregon State tonight. That's why this game was so crucial for Auburn tonight, to get off to a good start and not have to be behind the 8-ball the rest of the evening. If you guys haven't already, as you're coming in, please do make sure you smash the like button on YouTube, retweet on Twitter if you're watching there, or hit the like, share it into a group on Facebook as well. It does help us out. And if you guys aren't on YouTube, I do highly suggest you come on over here to this format, because it does have a little bit better of a setup. But we thank you guys joining us wherever you're from. Let's see. Kevin is confident we will win tomorrow night. Well, we are definitely in the driver's seat to do that. So I would say that you right now making that prediction are not far off. But as Connor has already suggested, their bullpen, the rest of their rotation is still available. Dusty says the strike zone was interesting. We got a few more calls than they did, but calls definitely missed for both teams. Yeah, I don't think it was too. There's always going to be a discrepancy, right, in anything, but I don't think it was too far one way or the other. It was a very tight strike zone. I think that's about it is. Sheehan killed any momentum we had in the middle innings. I think you look at Carson Skipper, the guy who handled the back 3.1 innings, 6 to the, excuse me, was it 5th to the middle of the, anyway, 3.1 innings is what he did. He's the guy you kind of think of the most, but then Sheehan came in along with Armstrong into a bad situation and really just kind of silenced everything. And it got kind of, outside of Auburn scoring a few more runs, kind of boring after that, which I think we all needed after that point. Even Connor agrees it was a little bit of a, strike zone issue, it was at least same for both teams, and consistently small, as he said. Skipper was amazing. If you blinked, you would have missed his pitches. He worked so fast. And sometimes that's a great thing, especially if a team has not found their rhythm, as Oregon State had kind of lost. If you can work fast, they'll get used to it, right? It's what happens, the second and third time through the order, if you're seeing a pitcher that many times. Now, and that's kind of the thing to think about too, is if you think about the typical makeup of a baseball game, in an ideal world, your starter goes about 6 innings plus. And so they usually means the batters, at least the top of the lineup, get to see the pitcher 3 times. And at that third time, they usually kind of figure them out. Tonight, with Auburn changing pitchers so much by necessity, maybe it helped them out a little bit. Let's see here. Apparently, the Auburn track and field team came up from Eugene. I was hoping that would happen. And you couldn't, honestly, if you were going to travel out to this faraway super regional, you couldn't have had a better opportunity to go get a full Auburn experience. Go to the track and field in Eugene, which I think is 3 hours away, something like that. I don't know. Connor would know better. But Michael Floyd, what is going on? Thanks for being here. Good to see you, sir. What did you think of the atmosphere of Corvallis? Cool recognition. Shout out from Butch. Let me say this first, and I don't mean this as a slight towards Corvallis, so I hope it's not taken that way. The broadcast tonight was terrible. I'm not going to say necessarily the commentators, but just they were losing the feed several times, and the mic stuff was so off. Like, you could tell the mics were a little off because the sound mix between the commentators and stuff was just so bad. But that being said, every time we got a shot of, is it the Goss, y'all call it? Loved it. Great atmosphere. Y'all had the thing out in the, was it left field, that looked pretty cool out there that a lot of teams start to do now, is kind of have a special thing out in the outfield. I loved it. I listen, I would love to travel. I wish I had the money and the means to be at every single Auburn event. I don't. But that would definitely be a cool place to go, because I think it was something. And you can tell that Butch Thompson, our head coach, respects it. Thank you for clarifying. Eugene is 45 minutes away. It's so weird that you guys are so close to your biggest rival. I mean, we're only separated, I think, by 2.5 hours, but you have to zigzag to get to them, so it's much longer. So it's weird when you're that close to your rivals. All right. We are going to do a shortened version of this. We're not done quite yet. Let me go through a little bit of the stats tonight and just kind of look at what we have to kind of break down. Question for the group. I was thinking this. Does anybody know, does Oregon State have, are you guys going to be home? Connor, you could answer this, the entire way through this, or does Auburn get to be home tomorrow because we're flip-flopping back and forth? I'm not sure how that works in super regionals, to be honest with you. All right, Blake Rambush, 0 for 4 tonight. Cole Foster, 2 for 3. DeShera, 1 for 4. Bobby freaking Pierce, Bobby Barrels. Bobby has been swinging the bat like somebody said something about his mama, and I've never met his mama before, so I hope he doesn't take offense to that. But my goodness, he has just got a chip on his shoulder, and that ball was gone. Got to give Bobby Pierce the credit that he deserves for just yanking that out of there. Connor says the feed was awful. ESPN even had a giant satellite behind the right field bleachers towards the end. There must have been a lot of people tuning in, or somebody like accidentally tripped over something or whatever. And it kept happening right on a pitch too. And I'm like, are you kidding me? The whole crowd had on jackets for a June baseball game. Wild. I know, isn't it? So now we need Connor and the rest of the Oregon State people to come on down to Auburn right now and experience true summer, because it's hot. It's real hot. Auburn is home tomorrow. Thank you, Devin. Got a lot of people clarifying that. That's how I thought it worked. Excuse me, still getting over this cough. That's how I thought it worked, but I wasn't sure if they just got home the whole way through. So another key thing for Auburn, should Oregon State get the lead tomorrow, Auburn gets that final crack at it. Whew. Tomorrow's going to be wild, y'all. It's going to be super wild. I grew up in Georgia, so I'm familiar. Well, yeah. So you know what's up. All right, keep going through the lineup here. Brooks Carlson, 0 for 4. Brody Moore. Oh, wow, guys, I'm forgive me. Let me start over here. I was reading the wrong stat. Blake Rambush, 0 for 4. Cole Foster, 1 for 3. DeShera, 1 for 4. Bobby Pierce, 1 for 4. We weren't so bad off. Brooks Carlson, 1 for 4. Brody Moore doesn't get a lot. He gets 1 RBI tonight, but doesn't like show up on in your minds as much because of the home runs and the pitching stuff. But 3 for 4 tonight. Kason Howell was 0 for 3. Nate LaRue, 1 for 4. And Mike Bello was 2 for 4. Now, I will say Bello had 1 great catch in the outfield and then had 2 get past him out there, whether or not it was, because it was a good hit or a misplacement of where he was. And don't want to have that happen at the bottom of the night like it did. Let's see here. Let me keep rolling wrong. It was 104 today. Jeez, my goodness. I don't know how y'all deal with that out there in Texas. We've talked a lot about the pitchers. Trace Bright, Jordan Armstrong, Tommy Sheehan gets the win tonight. Obviously, Burkhalter gets the save. I think, honestly, you don't want to ignore what Carson Skipper did for this, but really, it comes down to what Tommy Sheehan did. Even Connor, our Oregon State fan here, has said that as well, that he's the guy that really shut it down. It's interesting seeing a guy, former transfer from Notre Dame, and their team is with Tennessee right now, competing with them. It'll get interesting. It certainly will. So tomorrow, we've talked about it. Joseph Gonzalez versus, help me out, Connor, who the guy is. It's the guy with the J name, if I can remember that. I expect the bats to still be hot from both teams. Here's what I would like. I would just like to request one inning from both teams. Just one inning. Just one. Let us breathe, because we didn't get a chance to breathe until like halfway through the third inning, really. My goodness, it was incredible. Jerpy, thank you. I'm going to try to remember that. So here's what I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm excited to see the bats be hot for Oregon State and for Auburn, but I'm also excited to see what this kid Jerpy has got. They're talking him up a lot, giving him a lot of props. But I'm also excited to see and show the Oregon State fans the way Joseph Gonzalez has become the star of the pitching staff. Now, I've said that. I've jinxed him. That's just the Auburn mentality, that we just think everybody is we always can jinx ourselves. Poetic Tiger, good to see you. Berkey had you scared, Ford says. Yeah, I understand that. Sullivan, would recommend tuning into Andy and Brad on the AU Baseball Facebook page tomorrow and mute the TV. I try to do that, and I think that is a good thing, but I can never get it lined up 100% properly with the TV. You just have to try, a couple times to get it done. I'm just lazy, so I just usually listen to that. But yes, Andy and Brad are really good on the call, so I would recommend that as well. All right, here's what I'd like from you guys. We're going to start winding down our time here. I said it was going to be an abbreviated one. I'd like from the Auburn fans really quick, and Connor too, or any other Oregon State fans, who is your player of the game? I think you can make a case for several people tonight. I think Tommy Sheehan is one. I think DeShera. I think you could make a case for Carson Skipper. You can make a case for several people tonight. This is not a case where we have a definite, I think. Well, you might, but I would love to see what you guys think. Auburn fans and anybody watching, who is your player of the game tonight? And then we're going to do one more prediction here in just a second. Devin asked, do you think they should have kept Skipper in instead of bringing in Burkhalter? I went back and forth on that, Devin. You and I were thinking the same thing. I thought part of me wanted Skipper to complete it, but the other thought he had gone long enough, and you're probably going to need him again very soon. So if you can get him in there, get Berkey some time, get him used to pitching in that environment, that's invaluable. So I think it's the best probably of both worlds, but Carson deserved to keep going through with it the way he was pitching. Sheehan has a similar 3/4 lefty arm slot to Jerpy, which is a huge compliment considering Jerpy is a Golden Spikes finalist. We got a Carson Skipper. I'm going with Carson Skipper. Impressed with his pitching. I think he's the guy that probably the performance by Sheehan is wasted basically if Carson doesn't do what he does. And then I think I would tend to agree with you guys, to be honest with you. Thought it was interesting that they said that the 6'8" pitcher for Oregon State was not their tallest player. They have a 7-footer. Is that true, Connor? Wow. Goodness. The other guy that hit the missile home run would be mine. That's Bobby Barrels. Bobby Pierce. He is a guy that kind of finally found his place in the lineup this year, and it has just never, ever looked back. There we go. Co-MVPs. Like it. And then Sonny has a Golden Spikes too. Yep. But yes. So, okay. Final prediction. Here's what I'd like from the group, everybody. I want a final prediction score tomorrow night. Let's throw it out. It's, I don't know why, but it feels like personally that baseball scores are probably one of the hardest things to predict other than a football game. I mean, than any other sport. But I'd love to see what you guys think. I want your winner and your score prediction. Everybody type it in the comments section right now. Here's how I think it's going to go. I think we will have a least quiet first inning, maybe second inning. I think the third and the fourth inning, especially that second time through the lineup for everybody, you're going to probably see somebody heat up. Will it be Auburn against Jerpy? Will it be Oregon State against Gonzalez? I don't know. But I do think that Oregon State's going to get out to a lead. I do think Auburn will respond some. The question is how big that lead's going to be. I think that when we're rolling into the 7th inning, things are going to tighten up no matter what has happened at that point. And my gut tells me we're going to have a similar situation to tonight, where there's just enough of a cushion for one of the teams, but not too comfortable. One blast could have done this thing, tied it up, or taken it to a different winner. So that's what I think is going to happen. My gut is telling me that Oregon State's going to win, but I believe in Joseph Gonzalez. So I think that's probably what I'm going to. Oh, and we got a little reverse juju going on right here. 30, Oregon State. I like it, Dustin. I see you. I know what you're doing. Connor doesn't appreciate it. Connor says 8-2. Fingers crossed. Look, that we're not no mojo here tonight. We're just having a friendly discussion for any team. Game 2 to Oregon State. I don't know a score. Just feel like there's going to be 3 games. Kind of feels that way, the way the energy has been around this one the entire time. 10-8. Ooh, goodness. Hunter Cope is the legit 7-foot freshman. My goodness, get him in a basketball court. All right. A lot of other people predicting things. Good to see you, Felix. Thanks for being here. All right. I'll take final comments and questions. Get them in right now in the chat. Couple reminders for you. We're going live tomorrow night. Again, late. No matter what happens, we're going to talk about it, figure it out. We're going to either be celebrating or we're going to be talking about how the Auburn Tigers can potentially win Game 3. But your Tigers are in the driver's seat, so don't miss tomorrow night right after the game, no matter what the time says. I remember I just said it, and we do it as soon as we can, as soon as the game's over. I'll probably set it for 2 o'clock again tomorrow night. Tell a friend, invite them in. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash the like button, all that stuff, and check out links in the description for ways that you can help support our content. Those are the things that you can do right now, and we encourage those of you on social media watching, come on over to YouTube. All right. Dusty's reverse juju worked last weekend. Legit question. Are y'all this question again, Connor. Did a Bama fan tell you to say this? Let me lay it down for you. We are the Tigers. That's our mascot. War Eagles are battle cry. Let's talk about it another time when we haven't spent 20, 25 minutes, almost 30 minutes talking about other stuff. War Eagles are battle cry. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's pretty cool. Notre Dame, we're all hoping they win tomorrow. Yes. Everybody's off to bed. There we go. We're explaining that. You'll be tomorrow night in left field. All right, Connor, I got a challenge for you. If you, I don't know what I could do for you, but if you can give me a sign that says hashtag E2C on TV out there in left field, you'll be the man. I don't know what, I can't give anything, but if you can do it, that'd be awesome. But if you have an Eagle mascot flying on the field, it's not the mascot. It's not a mascot. It's something completely different. We don't have time to talk about it tonight. Don't get me started, Connor. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Sorry for those of you that are getting in a little bit late, but like I said, we were going to cut this thing a little short. We have stayed up way later than most of our bedtimes. Thank y'all so much for being here. Great crowd. Hope to see you tomorrow night. No matter what the outcome is, we're going to have some fun talking about it. Maybe some of our Oregon State fans will come back as well. Till I talk to you guys again, War Eagle, and good night.